Do you want to be healthier, yet you just don't know what to do? All these shows telling you this and that, but nothing seems to work. Well, listen close. Golden State Media Concepts has got something great for you. The Health and Wellness Podcast, dedicated to workout trends, healthy eating habits, diet, and everything about healthy living. Join us in our banters as we help you not just live life to the fullest, but live it to the healthiest.
Hey guys, and welcome to GSMC Health and Wellness Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Cynthia, and yes, you heard Cynthia, so I am now going to be doing the health and wellness episodes twice a week instead of once, so double of me for you guys. I hope you're excited. I'm excited. I'm so glad to be doing these a lot more often. I love talking all things health and wellness and fitness as well, which leads to my next point. I am now doing or hosting the fitness podcast, the GSMC fitness podcast. So if you're a fan of the health and wellness, I highly, highly suggest you also subscribe to the GSMC fitness podcast. Some things will overlap with the health and wellness, but they're still in two different categories. Health and wellness, I'm going to try and focus more on mind, body, and spirit, whereas with fitness, that'll be more technical, more about working out, exercise trends, and all of that good stuff. So I hope you guys are excited for, like I said, double of me each week, so stay tuned for that. And let's see, what's an update since I last been here a couple days ago? Not much, honestly. I did one workout. It was a great workout, and that's about it. My life has been pretty uneventful since the last time I came into the studio. Basically the highlight of my week is like doing these episodes, honestly. It gets me out of the house, but again, do not worry, you guys. I am the only one in the studio. No one else is here. It literally smells like bleach every single time I walk in, so it is deep cleaned from top to bottom, so don't worry, I'm still practicing social distancing. I'm on the same boat as you guys. I want this whole fiasco to be over once and for all. So I am doing my part in staying home, staying safe, and hopefully you are as well. And the juicy secret. So that's what we're trying to talk about today. What is the juicy secret? Can you guys guess? I'm going to give you like a couple seconds. All right. The juicy secret. It's all about juicing. Get it? There we go. My play on words, that was pretty great, right? So yes, the juicy secret. I'm going to be giving you guys pretty much like the pros and cons of juicing, my personal opinion. I'm actually really excited to talk about this. I feel like I say that for every single episode that I'm excited to talk about it. But like I said, I truly have like a passion for health and wellness. So every single topic that I discuss on the show, like I'm always going to be excited about. Because who wants to have a host on here that's not, excited or passionate about what they're talking about? Couldn't be me. So I'm going to give you guys pretty much the rundown on what is juicing, the pros and cons of juicing versus blending. I'm also going to give you guys, talk a little bit about like juice cleanses, like are they good for you? Are they not? And specifically on today's episode, I'm going to be dedicating a large portion to celery juice. There's a whole craze right now with celery juice. So I wanted to really spend my time talking about celery juice. Like, does it really work for you? Is it overhyped? And then last but not least, in the final segment of today's episode, I will be sharing with you guys my top 4 favorite juices / smoothies. I am more of a smoothie drinker than like a juice person. I just recently started getting into juicing, but smoothies I've been making for a hot minute. So that's more but they're like in the same family, you know, so it's not like too off the grid with smoothies. So stay tuned for the very end so you guys are able to hear my favorite smoothie and juicy, my favorite smoothie and juice recipes. And let's get into what we have to uncover today. So juicing. I'm going to bring it back. My first encounter with like juices, smoothies, juice cleanses, all that jazz was when I used to live in Southern California, specifically Santa Barbara. Relatively almost everyone, I'm generalizing here, okay, but everyone is pretty health conscious and fit in that area. I mean, the city is basically on the beach and you're basically like outdoors on the beach in a bikini half the time. So it makes sense, right? You want to look good and you want to feel good. And that's actually one of the many things I really miss about living in Santa Barbara. There are eateries there. And in general, Southern California, their food in Southern California is just 10 times better than up here in Northern California. And that's facts, okay? Don't argue with me. I lived in both areas. In Southern California, their eateries are just so good. And going back to Santa Barbara, pressed juices were a huge thing in that area when I was living there. Like everybody had a pressed juice. There was like a juice store shop in almost every corner. It's been a thing, okay? And at the time, I was living with one of my roommates. She used to work at Press Juicery. For those of you who are not aware of Press Juicery, it's a nationwide store, and they have like pressed juices there and like frozen yogurt, I believe. So my roommate, she used to work at Press Juicery in Santa Barbara, and that's really when I first got introduced to juice cleanses, and I could never get over the fact of how overpriced these juices are. Like $9 for, you know, a small 8-ounce bottle. I'm sorry. No, thank you. I was a broke college student at the time, so that definitely wasn't a doable option for me to be spending $9 for a little 8-ounce bottle that I'm going to drink in one sitting. They did taste good though. I will give it out. They did taste really good, but me personally, not worth the $9 hype. The same roommate who worked at Press Juicery, she would also like sporadically do juice cleanses. I mean, she worked there. She had one of her perks of working at Press Juicery. She was able to try the juice cleanses for free. So why not? So basically she's drinking straight liquids for about a week. And again, I said, no, thank you. That can't be me. Couldn't be me. I love food too much. I need to eat solids, okay? And I just know that's not sustainable for me, not even for a week. Like, I feel like I would be the grouchiest person on this earth. I'm already a pretty grouchy person when I'm hangry. So if I'm like that for an entire week, no. It's not good for me. It's not good for you. It's not good for anybody. So I'm definitely probably won't ever try a juice cleanse, to be honest. And also, let me just say, I've never been a huge fan of juicing because I don't like stripping the fiber away from vegetables and fruit and simply just drinking the juice. Fiber is so essential and it's a huge necessity in our diet. And I don't know if you guys know, but many Americans actually don't consume enough fiber and don't even know it. So that's the only thing with juicing. But I feel like if I do it here and there, or if it's all in moderation, I think it's okay for me. All of my favorite, well, let me backtrack. So as I was saying, fiber is a necessity, and that's the biggest reason why I'm a little hesitant when it comes to juicing and juice cleanses. All of that to say that my interest in juicing really peaked recently when I started to see and hear about celery juice. Like, all of my favorite fitness and health influencers on YouTube and Instagram started sharing their favorite green juice or celery juice recipe online. They were swearing by this miracle juice, saying after a week of drinking celery juice first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, that they have clear, more flawless skin. Their mood is better, improved digestion, no bloating, etc. I mean, even my sister persuaded me on the celery juice trend, saying that it helps with inflammation and that it contains all of these other amazing benefits. And to be honest, you guys, I'm very easy to convince. It doesn't take much for someone to convince me to do something or to try something. I feel like I'm always down. That's just always been my attitude. And at that point, when I was, all my favorite influencers, health and fitness influencers were drinking celery juice, and then my sister started drinking it. So I'm like, you know what? Let me go to Costco, buy a food processor real quick, and begin this juicing journey for myself. And that's exactly what I did. And when it comes to like the kitchen, I like to give myself credit, you guys, and say that I'm pretty fire in the kitchen, whether it's cooking, baking, or juicing now. I'm able to whip up something pretty tasty, and juicing has now become a part of that, my kitchen resume, okay? And regardless of taste, I wanted to test and prove and see if these outlandish claims of juicing, but specifically celery juice, were true. So again, I kept hearing these claims of my favorite influencers and my sister saying that drinking celery juice first thing in the morning on an empty stomach improves your digestion. So I wanted to see, does it really improve digestion? Does celery juice help with improving hair and skin? Does it really help with inflammation? Is there a true correlation with juicing and all of these amazing benefits people claim to have gained from juicing? And that's what I'm here to talk about today. So you guys, I'm going to cut into a very, very brief break. And when we come back, I'm going to explain what is juicing and the pros and cons of juicing and blending. But before we move on to our commercial break, I want to share with you guys this amazing product I've been using called Hydrant. You want to kick the coffee habit, but you're worried about your energy levels, such as myself. To avoid the morning sluggishness and that midday slump, you need to make sure you're hydrated. And for 25% off your first order, go to drinkhydrant.com and enter promo code GSMC at checkout. Something I really love about Hydrant is that it's backed by research. The formula was developed by Oxford scientists to provide perfectly balanced, efficient hydration. Again, that's drinkhydrant.com and enter promo code GSMC for 25% off your first order. And Hydrant starts at just $1 a packet for a 30-day supply. You can save even more with a monthly subscription. So it makes it easy for you with a subscription. You never have to worry about, I need to get another supply. And again, that's drinkhydrant.com and enter promo code GSMC.
Are you looking to learn more about the latest trends from the fitness world? Are you confused by all of the different trends that are out there? The GSMC Fitness Podcast is the place for you. The GSMC Fitness Podcast is the place to come for people of all skill and interest levels. Join us as we explore the latest trends in the fitness world. Does that new exercise really work? Should I try yoga? Whatever your question, chances are good you'll find an answer on the GSMC Fitness Podcast.
Hey guys, and welcome back to GSMC Health and Wellness Podcast. So in the previous segment, we started to dive in a little bit in regards to juicing, juice cleanses. I started to give you guys an intro into the subject. So now let's get even more deep into juicing. What exactly is it? And in this segment, we'll also be covering the pros and cons of juicing and blending. So let's get to it. So I'm going to just give you guys a little dictionary definition on juicing, just in case there's, children listening to this. Juicing is a process where juice is extracted from fruits and vegetables, such as through pressing or squeezing. This is different from eating whole fruits and vegetables or blended drinks because juicing leaves only liquid while discarding the fiber-filled pulp. And which is like a good and bad thing. Again, that's like the biggest concern for me when it comes to juicing, as I mentioned in the previous segment, is that I am literally stripping away the fiber content. However, if I'm able to supply that fiber content in other areas of my diet, then juicing is perfectly fine. But I think that we all need to if you are someone who's thinking about juicing and you want to do it for weight loss purposes or whatever goal it is you have in mind, take a look at your diet as a whole. What are the areas, you're missing or you're doing okay in? Like if you're already getting enough fiber through whole foods like sweet potato and grains and things of that nature, then I feel like there's no issue with having a 8-ounce glass of juice a day. Again, this is just my opinion. And juicing provides a way to simplify these daily needs since one bottle can contain extracts of multiple fruits and vegetables and is as fast and easy to consume. So it's definitely easy. It's definitely convenient, especially for those who are on the go constantly. People treat it as like a meal replacement. So let's now get into the pros. Pretty much basically juicing versus blending. What's the difference? I'm first going to talk about the pros of blending and then the cons of blending. So what I mean by blending is like literally using a blender because there's a difference. So pros of blending. Unlike juicing, blending retains all of the edible portions of the fruit or vegetable in the drink. So it's a little bit more chunky. Some people may like that, others may not. A 2014 study published in Preventative Nutrition and Food Science found that blended drinks consisting of apples, pears, persimmons, and mandarin oranges exhibited stronger antioxidant activity and greater amounts of phenolic compounds than those prepared by juicing. And what exactly are phenolic compounds? Honestly, I didn't even know what that was until I read this article. So phenolic compounds are molecules that contribute to antioxidant activity, which have shown to be inversely correlated with the risk of chronic diseases when abundant in one's diet. So very high, a lot of antioxidant properties for blending your fruits and vegetables. Now, the cons of blending, since blended drinks contain all of the fibers of the original fruits and vegetables, these may quickly contribute to excess fiber if one's diet is not monitored properly. And I know we just mentioned you need to make sure many Americans actually aren't getting enough fiber in the day. But obviously with anything, if too much of anything is not good for you. And too much fiber can lead to intestinal gas, abdominal bloating, and cramping. And you'll definitely be able to tell, when your stomach hurts. Water intake should also increase alongside increased fiber intake to aid stool formation. So the more fiber you're ingesting, the more water you should be ingesting as well. So I always recommend clients of mine in regards to nutrition, when I see someone's diet or not their little diet journal where they're writing everything that they're eating from morning to night, most of the time I'm noticing there's not enough fiber in the diet. And when I suggest to my clients to start increasing their fiber intake, I always make sure they gradually increase and not just all of a sudden from one day to the next, consume all of these extra grams of fiber, because that's how, you'll start to get intestinal gas, abdominal bloating, and all of that uncomfortable discomfort in your body. So again, when you increase fiber, you also increase your water intake and do it gradually. Now, let's get into the pros and cons of juicing. Now, that was the pros and cons of blending, using a blender. Let's get into juicing. I'm first going to share with you guys the pros of juicing, the short-term pros of juicing. In the 2014, the same article I mentioned before, in the 2014 Preventative Nutrition and Food Science study, results revealed that ascorbic acid, or known as vitamin C, content was higher in drinks prepared by juicing rather than blending. In particular, the juice of apples, pears, and mandarin oranges contain the most ascorbic acid content. So nutrient and antioxidant levels such as vitamin C can differ based on juice extraction techniques. So like I said, I use like a food processor, so it definitely, like every time I use it, it barely sheds, there's hardly any other waste. Like my food processor really squeezes every drop of juice out. So I feel in my drink, I'm getting the most amount of vitamin C possible. And I'll share with you guys exactly my recipes, like I said, towards the very end of today's episode. So that was the short-term pros of juicing. Let's get into the short-term cons of juicing. Since juicing removes the rinds of fruits and vegetables, it also removes fibers but keeps all the sugars. So like I mentioned previously, this is like my biggest concern with juicing is the high sugar content and the fact that I'm removing the fiber content. For example, consider a fresh medium-sized apple that has 19 grams of sugar and 4 grams of fiber. In comparison, a glass of apple juice does not contain any fiber because it's in a liquid form and not whole. So a glass of apple juice does not contain any fiber and may contain juice from multiple apples, thus increasing the total sugar content. So like 1 cup of apple juice contains about 24 grams of sugar, which is kind of a lot. I'm not exactly sure on the exact amount of sugar what an adult should be eating per day, what's the recommended or the cap off, but 24 grams of sugar on just your juice alone is pretty high. Since fiber is necessary for regulating blood sugar levels, drinking fruit juice may result in blood sugar spikes. So definitely if you're one diabetic, pre-diabetic, juicing may not be the answer for you. And that's why I feel like whenever it comes to changes in your diet and nutrition, you should always consult with the doctor first, because what works for me may not work for you, and we need to all take that into consideration. Fiber is also necessary to activate satiety responses, basically meaning like the feeling of fullness. So drinking a cup of fruit juice may not be as filling as eating a piece of fruit. It may fill you up for like the short 10, 15 minutes after you drink it, as opposed to fruit where it'll fill you up for 30 minutes or longer. So those are the short-term cons of juicing now and the short-term pros of juicing. So I will now be sharing with you guys the long-term pros of juicing and the long-term cons of juicing. So long-term pros of juicing. A 2011 study published in Nutrition Journal found that individuals who drank 16 ounces or 2 cups of carrot juice every day for 3 months significantly increased total antioxidant capacity in their blood plasma, which means there was increased antioxidant activity in their bloodstream, so similar to the effects of blended drinks. So as far as the pros with juicing and blending, they're almost identical. The antioxidant properties are very high, and it's very good for your bloodstream as well. Now, the long-term cons of juicing is that the fructose present in fruit juice can be problematic as it is associated with increased triglyceride formation in liver cells. And basically, triglycerides are a form of fat that can result from the breakdown of fructose in the liver. And increased triglycerides can impair liver function and build up as plaque inside artery walls when released into the bloodstream. Pretty crazy stuff here that I'm saying right now. And since higher intakes of fructose are associated with obesity and heart disease, drinking fruit juice in moderation can limit these risks. And according to the dietary guidelines for Americans, they recommend no more than 1 serving or 4 ounces of 100% fruit juice as part of the daily fruit intake. So, with all of that to say that I just said in regards to the long-term and short-term, pros and cons of juicing and blending, I think it's all in moderation, and you should also take, if you do have any pre-existing health conditions, take those into consideration as well, because someone like myself, I'm generally healthy. I don't have, high blood pressure, low blood pressure. I'm not pre-diabetic or anything like that. My diet and the way that I juice is going to be vastly different than someone else who's diabetic or has other underlying conditions. So again, just consult with your doctor, see if juicing is the right move for you. Again, take into consideration you're stripping away the fiber content when you're juicing and blending. Take into consideration too that it's a high sugar content. And these pros and cons, this is for overall juicing. I'm not talking about celery juice right now. There's just overall any type of juice, whether it's apple, celery, pineapple, mango, whatever it is. Fruit has high sugar content. It's good sugar for you. But again, too much of anything or going overboard isn't always the safest. And you guys, I'm going to cut into another very brief break right now. When we come back, we're going to be discussing juice cleanses and the positive and negative effects of being on a juice cleanse.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Hey guys, and welcome back to GSMC Health and Wellness Podcast. So we just uncovered the pros and cons of juicing and blending. Let's now get into juice cleanses because that's a whole other craze going on. And as I mentioned in the very first segment, my older roommate was partaking in those juice cleanses. And to be honest, as a witness of that, it looked pretty terrible and miserable. She ended up giving up like halfway through her week-long cleanse. Not shaming her or bashing her in any way because I honestly don't even think I'd be able to stand a one-day juice cleanse. Like I said, I'm like hungry 24/7. And the fact that I work out a lot like makes me even more hungry. So that's why I don't think I would partake in a juice cleanse like ever. But if you do, again, this is not me bashing you. This is just an opinion. Okay. So let's get into juice cleansing. Basically what it is, it's a process in which an individual consumes only vegetable and fruit juices for a period of 3 to 10 days. However, as I just mentioned, there are some juice cleanses on the market that last just one day as well. Some juice cleansing regimens also suggest that no other additional food items are necessary during the process. So when you're doing these juice cleanses, you're not supposed to eat any other solids. And like I said, I can't do that. So juice cleanses are not for me. So what are some of the positive effects of a juice cleanse? Because there has to be, right? Like so many people do juice cleanses, so there must be something great about doing it. A 2009 study published in Proceedings of the Nutrition Society found that consumption of the equivalent of 5 servings of fruits and vegetables in the form of puree and fruit juice concentrates in intervals over an 8-hour time period increased dietary phytochemicals, micronutrients, and plasma antioxidant status. So similar to antioxidants, phytochemicals have antioxidant-like functions which may help ward off disease. And additionally, the micronutrients found in juices are essential for maintaining like basic tissue function. So, I mean, that all sounds nice and dandy. Like I said, I don't know if I'll be able to do it. If you've ever done a juice cleanse, can you let me know in the comments how that went for you, and what was your experience like, and what is your recommendations or tips and tricks to help a newbie like myself get into juice cleanses if they were interested. Again, not saying I'm interested, but like someone else who's listening to this podcast who would be interested. Now, let's get into some of the negative effects of juice cleanses, okay? Many juice cleansing companies state that no additional food is necessary to supplement the juice cleanse. However, as mentioned previously, juice can have increased sugar content and does not contain the fibers originally present in whole fruits and vegetables, which can leave you feeling hungry and can cause sugar spikes. So, I already said this time and time again on today's episode, that is my biggest concern with juicing. When blood sugar is high, red blood cells stiffen and interfere with blood circulation, resulting in a buildup of cholesterol within blood vessels over time. Also, a juice cleanse may contain very little protein because fruits and vegetables generally already do not contain as much protein as other sources of food such as meat, legumes, or dairy products. As a result, a full day of cleanse may not meet the CDC's daily recommended dietary allowances of 46 grams of protein for women and 56 grams for men. While one day probably will not cause any damage, multiple days on a juice cleanse can lead to protein deficiency. And that's pretty rare, honestly. Not that many people have a protein deficiency. We generally get our protein from almost anything we eat. But again, this is juicing. So this is very different. Juicing so different from eating whole foods. Sometimes a cleanse contains a bottle of nut milk in the regimen that can account for some of the lacking protein, fiber, and healthy fats. But this is usually not enough to meet the recommended daily allowances. And also, nuts are an incomplete protein source. And what that means is incomplete protein sources, they lack some of the essential amino acid building blocks necessary for a healthy diet. And some other sources of incomplete protein sources are like grains, nuts, fruits and vegetables. So how do they come complete? You have to basically combine all of those sources to create a complete protein source. And I won't get too much into protein. I actually might do like an updated protein, all about protein episode. I actually did one on here a couple months back, but I want to update because there's obviously there's always information flowing and there's always something to learn. And going back to the negative effects of juice cleanse, these missing nutrients, of protein and fiber and healthy fats, these missing nutrients from a juice cleanse may be responsible for the fatigue and headaches reported by some users. And that was one of the biggest things I noticed with my old roommate is that she was very fatigued. She said she felt like a sloth. She was moving slow. She had very little energy. And like I said, I can totally understand that. I mean, you're going from eating solids and having this normal eating schedule to completely cutting that out and then going into a week-long juice cleanse. I go hungry. I eat every 2 hours, you guys, small snacks, but I generally eat every 2 hours. So I literally cannot imagine putting myself in this position of being on a juice cleanse for a week. Not even for a day unless someone paid me to do it. But again, this is just my opinion. You regular juice cleansers or juicing people could have a vastly different experience than mine. But like I said, share it in the comments if you have, tips and tricks, that you would like to share with our other listeners. So that way we can all, try to immerse yourself into the juicing world here. So you guys, that was all of the negative effects of juice cleanse and positive effects of juice cleanse. again, if you do it, kudos to you. I don't think I'd be able to get into that. So now moving on into a different subject, but still relatively the same about what we were just discussing. We're now going to be talking and spending a big portion of today's episode uncovering celery juice. And I'm honestly so hyped to talk about celery juice because I've been very interested in celery juice. I honestly would say since the start of quarantine, and we've been in quarantine now for about, I'd say like a month now, I think. And I've been, obviously, my engagement with social media has kicked up because I have like nothing to do. So all of my favorite like health and fitness and beauty influencers have been raving about celery juice. And as I mentioned, my sister as well has been raving about it. And I have FOMO. I feel FOMO is fear of missing out, for those of you who don't know. I have that, and I need to try something for myself to form my own personal opinion on it. That's how I am with like everything and anything. And I think that's why I'm so down to like try anything. And I'm very easy to convince because I want to form my own opinion. I never want to be like, well, I don't want to say never, but I try not to be the type of person that's like, oh, well, this person told me this, so like, I'm not going to do it. Like, I don't want other people influencing my thoughts and decisions. I want to make my own decisions and create my own opinions based on my own experience. So, like I said, celery juice, I want to specifically talk about celery juice since this is the hype and popular topic right now in the health and wellness world. And a lot of people are interested in it, such as myself. And I know some of you listeners are hyped and excited to hear me speak on celery juice. So I'm going to cut into a very brief break right now. And when we come back, we'll uncover all the truths and controversies of celery juice.
The GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast takes you on a journey of exploration. We'll discuss tried and true methods alongside the latest trends of how to best live your life to its fullest and happiest. From psychology to meditation, science to self-help books, the GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast will help you to discover what makes you happy and how you can live life being the best you possible. Download the GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Hey guys, and welcome back to GSMC Health and Wellness Podcast. So we just got done talking about the negative and positive effects of juice cleansing, and we're now switching gears a little bit and going to be diving into celery juice. Again, this is like the whole hype right now. It's the wave, and I've actually been trying celery juice for like the last, I'd say like 5 days consistently every day. I haven't been drinking it first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. To be honest, I need my coffee first thing in the morning. So it's going to be a little bit of a transition for me to switch celery juice into coffee. But I mainly just want to try it again. I want to form my own opinion. I want to personally validate these claims people are making of celery juice. It's making my digestion better. It's making my skin better. It's making my hair better. I have a better mood. So that's really why I want to try it for myself. I want to see like, how do I personally feel about it? Is there any change in my body at all? So that's why I've been trying celery juice, but I need to start drinking it first thing in the morning on an empty stomach to see if these claims are true. And like many celebrities like Naomi Campbell, Kim Kardashian, and Gwyneth Paltrow, they swear by celery juice, calling it a miracle superfood first thing in the morning for its potent healing properties and incredible ability to create sweeping improvements for all kinds of health issues, as I mentioned, including improving gut health, fighting cancer, clearing skin, flushing out viruses, and more. So I'll be covering the benefits of celery juice. I'll be covering the nutrient profile that it has within it, and also some of the things people are claiming that it will do for you, but it's not necessarily scientifically proven. And all of this information that I'll be sharing with you guys is from this doctor that I found on YouTube, Dr. Nick Zarowski. He is a credible source. He is a doctor, and he definitely knows what he's talking about, so I take his word for it. So one of the benefits of celery juice, it's celery, okay? That's the key word there. Not just juicing, but like the one benefit of celery juice is that it has a low sugar content compared to other juice recipes, and it's high in nutrients. If you've never tried celery juice, to be honest, it's a little to get used to. It's a very strong, bitter taste. I will share with you guys what I put in my celery juice. I add different ingredients. Some people say you shouldn't add other ingredients to celery juice. It should just be celery juice and water. I'm sorry, but I need the other things in there because drinking straight up celery juice is so hard. Okay. It is hard to swallow. So I just have to put it out there. But again, so one benefit of celery juice is it has a low sugar content, because celery is pretty bitter. But again, when you juice celery, you're taking away the fiber benefits. So take that into consideration if you're someone who doesn't consume enough fiber in your diet already. And I read somewhere someone saying that if you want to juice celery and still gain the fiber content, then just make celery juice through a blender. I'm sorry, but that's going to taste nasty. I don't recommend you do that, people. It's going to come out chunky. It's going to come out frosty. So my suggestion would be to just eat celery if you want to maintain the fiber content, or juice it. Those are your two options, okay? And let's now cover the nutrient profile of celery. And I believe that the nutrient profile of celery is the reason why people are correlating, the nutrient profile and bridging the gap with the claims that it's helping with clear skin, better digestion, and all of those things. So in celery, you're going to find vitamins C, K, and A. You're going to find folate, calcium, potassium, and magnesium, meaning this is full of great electrolytes within it. So it's a very good hydration. It's very good hydration right there. It also contains flavonoids, beta carotene, and phytonutrients. So lots of great antioxidants as well, which have an incredibly good impact in the body. And it's only 40 calories per half a cup. So celery juice is a very low calorie drink, which is more pleasable to individuals who are trying to lose weight. Some of the known benefits of drinking celery juice is that it's known to improve cardiovascular health, decrease inflammation, decrease free radicals, and oxidative stress. And that is all very important because when we look at decreasing inflammation, it's going to help decrease a lot of symptoms people are having, making them feel better. A lot of aches and pains are going to start to go away as well. So for those of you who are not aware, the majority of our aches, pains, and discomfort that we feel throughout our body is an inflammation problem. And celery juice is said to have helped that, according to Dr. Nick Zarowski. And decreasing free radicals and oxidative stress is very important as well, because when we look at a lot of diseases and chronic conditions like cancer and heart disease, as I mentioned, it's an inflammation problem. It's a free radical problem and a problem with a lot of oxidative stress building up over the years. So that is a claim a lot of people are able to make, that celery juice is amazing for decreasing inflammation. Next, people are claiming that it's going to help decrease your blood pressure. Now, according to Dr. Nick Zarowski, he says this is a bit of a controversial statement because when we look at blood pressure, the highly researched thing that is coming from the celery is the celery seed extract, which you're actually not going to find in the celery juice since you're stripping that away. Celery juice will decrease blood pressure, but it's not from the celery seed extract, but it's actually from the high potassium content. So again, celery juice will decrease blood pressure due to the high potassium content, but it's not actually from the celery, if that makes sense. This is where people are getting confused and what Dr. Nick Zarowski is emphasizing in regards to celery juice. And this is where people in general, I think, on the internet are correlating celery juice to having all these benefits, but they're forgetting there is celery seed extract and fiber involved, and neither of those are found in celery juice. You got contents from consuming whole celery, not in liquid form, and this basically goes for any vegetable or fruit, or fruit you juice. You're stripping away that fiber content. One of the things that people are claiming is that celery juice is supporting their digestive health and helping in a big way. And that's honestly one of the biggest things I wanted to test out, does it improve my digestion? How do I feel with that? Because digestion is everything. It's part of your gut health. And I talked about this in a previous episode, how important gut health is. It's 70% or 70 to 80% of our immune system is in our gut. And it's so important to take care of that. And according to Dr. Nick Zarowski, there isn't a lot of research that supports this specific claim that drinking celery juice is supports your digestive health. He says people are making conclusions to the fact that celery juice helps with digestion because there is research supporting the correlation between eating whole raw celery and digestion, but there's not enough supporting that celery juice supports digestion. Does that make sense? I know I said a lot right now. I threw a lot of you guys. So again, I'll repeat it. There is research supporting the correlation between eating celery and digestion, but there isn't enough research supporting drinking celery and digestion. And again, this is because when you eat celery, you gain fiber, and when you juice it, you don't. So that's the biggest difference. So with all that being said, I think people are bridging the gap with celery juice. For instance, when we look at all of these different nutrients in it, we could say celery juice is going to improve your immune system because it has vitamin C. It's going to improve bone strength and density because it has calcium. You can start bridging the gap and make a lot of outlandish claims. The problem is that when looking at the research, celery juice hasn't been proven to help the body in all the ways that people are claiming. However, there is some validity to say because it has this, it's going to do this, right? There's a good chance that it will offer some of those benefits, but they're not necessarily research proven. So in conclusion, my takeaway from all of what we just talked about in regards to celery juice is that there are indeed some great benefits to drinking celery juice. It's not a magic potion, so don't expect to change some pre-existing condition you have. More research needs to be done. The celery juice hasn't been around for too long, so I guess we'll just have to wait and see what the future research says about drinking celery as opposed to eating celery. And I do want to quickly mention that I am not sure. So all of what I just said was based on Dr. Nick Zarowski and his research, and he didn't specify if the benefits people gained and all of that was from drinking celery juice on an empty stomach every morning. He just said drinking celery juice. It's pretty broad. I'm not entirely sure if this is different or the same for drinking. I don't know if it differs if you drink celery juice in the morning first thing or like later on the day. I've been drinking it like with my lunch. So again, I'm not sure if that does anything better or worse. Like I said, juicing hasn't been around for too long. It's been around for about 17 years, honestly, like really popular. So again, that's his whole issue. Like there needs to be more research to really back up these claims. And you guys, I'm going to go into another very brief break right now. And when we come back from the break, I'm going to be sharing with you guys why the juice trend has survived for so long. And I'll also be sharing with you guys my top 4 favorite smoothie and juice recipes. But before we go on break, I want to talk about one of my favorite products I've been using right now called Hydrant. Did you know, you guys, that 75% of us are walking around everyday life chronically dehydrated? We are suffering needlessly from frequent headaches, energy slumps, and poor focus. And it doesn't have to be this way. And for 25% off your first order, go to drinkhydrant.com and enter promo code GSMC at checkout. One of my favorite things about Hydrant is that it's backed by research. The formula was developed by Oxford scientists to provide perfectly balanced and efficient hydration. That's drinkhydrant.com and enter promo code GSMC for 25% off your first order. Another great thing about it is that there's no synthetic colors or artificial sweeteners. The formula is vegan and you can choose between 3 different flavors or a variety pack. So for all my vegan friendly listeners, this one's for you. And again, this is drinkhydrant.com and enter promo code GSMC.
Are you tired of the same old news? Are you sick of the seemingly endless political spin and negativity? The GSMC America Still Beautiful podcast is a weekly news podcast covering all the top positive and uplifting news stories. We cover stories that will inspire, uplift, and remind you of the good in the world. Tune into the Golden State Media Concepts America Still Beautiful podcast to get all the great and positive news stories of today. Download the GSMC America Still Beautiful podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Hey guys, and welcome back to GSMC Health and Wellness Podcast. So we've already unpacked a lot. We talked about celery juice, the benefits, the nutrient profile, these claims people are making. Are they true? What does the research say? And now we're going to be talking about why the juice trend has survived for this long. So as I previously mentioned in the previous segment, the juice trend has been around for about 17 years. So it's been long, but also not that long. First reason why juice trend has survived for so long is this new wave of generation. Now more than ever, I think we are more health conscious than any other time in history. Back then, there wasn't as much focus on health and wellness as there is today. And we're so lucky to have the resources that we do to learn about new health trends. There were no juice places like Press Juicery or Jamba Juice, back when our parents were, roaming life and doing their thing. And millennials and the modern age are less obsessed with fad diets and quick fixes and extreme workout regimens and more aware of implementing healthy decisions into everyday life. Since this generational shift, fresh pressed juices have reportedly boomed into a $3.4 billion industry because people are incorporating juices into their everyday diets. New York City-based founder and CEO of Juice Generation, Eric Helms, believes that another reason why juicing has become widely popular is due to the heavy emphasis on current clean food movements, such as, vegetarian and vegan trends, juice cleanses, paleo. There's so many, dairy free. So we're in this current clean food movement, which is great. And it's fueled by social media where people discover community. People want to take a picture of themselves with their juice and they want to Instagram it because they feel really proud that they're doing something for their health and well-being. And you guys, I can't negate this. This is absolutely true. Bright and bold health drinks have always been a hit on social media, from moon milk to matcha lattes. It's aesthetically pleasing. People want to post it. Look at me. I'm healthy, whatever. I'm even guilty of this, okay? Now, celery juice is the latest pretty health drink to gain its own following. The bright green juice has racked up more than 40,000 posts on Instagram with hashtag celery juice, and the hashtag celery juice challenge is still picking up steam. Now, I'm not exactly sure what exactly the celery juice challenge is or what it entails, but the fact that they're making a challenge out of drinking celery juice is kind of weird to me. Like, that's the only thing with social media, is that they try to make a challenge out of like anything and everything. So that was something pretty comical that I found out, that there's a celery juice challenge. If you're aware of it, can you let me know in the comments what you have to do for the celery juice challenge? It's kind of crazy how social media heavily influences us and shapes us in ways that we would have never thought. Like I said, myself included, from the way we dress, the way we eat, drink. It's honestly kind of crazy. And fresh juice has become especially effective with today's fast-paced lifestyle. We're constantly on the go, and, dining trends are veering toward healthy to go instead of time-consuming sit-down options. And I think juices have become a new snack alternative to junk food, or even a meal substitution in moderation. Our modern lifestyle brings a lot of stress and toxins into our body, and it's important to help eliminate them, which is another incentive why I think people have turned to juicing, is that it's, it feels cleansing. It like cleanses your body. It flushes out the toxins. And I'm not going to lie, y'all. After I finished drinking my little green juice, my little celery juice, I felt skinty. Okay. I felt like everything was washed away. I felt like my stomach was on flat. So I definitely understand why people are obsessed with juicing. And that's pretty much a very short discussion there of why the juice trend has been around for so long and why I think it will continue to prevail. Millennials and modern age, we are taking over. Social media has a huge influence on popularizing certain health and food trends. And right now it's celery juice. So we'll see how long this trend continues, and maybe what's the new healthy food we're all going to be obsessing over. And finally, you guys, the moment has finally arrived. I'll be sharing with you guys my top 4 smoothies and juices. I religiously make these smoothies on a daily basis. The green juice I just started preparing about 5 days ago, and I honestly really like it. So that's why it has made it onto my list here, and I hope you guys enjoyed as well. So get a pen and paper, grab your notes from your phone, and get typing or get writing, because I'm going to list the portion sizes. I'm going to list the ingredients and everything. So my very first top one, and this is in no particular order, by the way, is the green juice. So this is my celery juice I've been drinking, my version of celery juice. And in this green juice that I make, there is celery, romaine lettuce, ginger, lemon, and apple. And my portions are about 5 stems of celery, 6 to 7 romaine leaves, half a lemon, 1 whole apple, and a tiny bit of ginger, because we all know ginger goes a long way. And I can't really give you the exact measurement for ginger because I just kind of eyeball it. So I just kind of cut a small piece off of it. And these portions that I just listed, they're for about a 12 to 16 ounce serving. Again, I'm kind of guesstimating here because I think I drink my green juice out of a mason jar, and I'm not entirely sure how many ounces are in this mason jar, but it's pretty big. And I highly recommend you use a food processor or juicer and not a blender for this, you guys. The blender obviously blends everything together, but you're left with a whole bunch of chunky celery pieces in your drink, and nobody wants to drink that. Like I said, celery is very bitter. Who wants to drink a chunky piece of celery? That's kind of gross, okay? And whereas the food processor, it separates the juice from the skin, extracting every single drop of juice of the vegetables and fruit, and you're left with a much tastier and satisfying drink. So again, celery, romaine lettuce, ginger, lemon, and apple. That's what I put in my green juice. Let me know in the comments if you try this green juice. Now, these next 3 smoothies that I'll be sharing with you guys, these are protein smoothies. So don't be afraid if you're like, I feel like there's like a negative stigma when it comes to like a protein shake. People are, especially older folks, automatically assume like a protein shake, I'm going to get real bulky and buff. No, you guys. Like, we need protein to sustain and maintain our muscle. So it's not going to make you grow huge traps, ladies and guys. It's not going to make your butt extremely large or anything, but these are protein shakes. So I do want to emphasize that. And these next 3 protein shakes, they're all different flavors. They're all delicious. And the protein is from the same brand, all 3. I use the brand Blessed Protein. It is so freaking delicious. It's vegan, dairy-free, no sugar, none of that, but it tastes delicious. It's made out of pea. It's pea protein. So it's vegan friendly, and I have been dairy-free for about like 3 to 4 years. So this has been the perfect option for me. Dairy typically makes me blow, and for that reason, I've been dairy-free, with the only exception of my once a week cheat meal, which is like pizza or quesadillas my mom makes. So, okay, what was I talking about again? Protein shakes. Here's my second recommended drink, juice, smoothie I'll be telling you guys, and that is the strawberry milk protein shake. I'm literally obsessed with this flavor. I'm currently out, so I need to get more. And the following ingredients are almond milk or any other dairy-free milk of your choice. And yes, I am emphasizing dairy-free because who's still drinking cow milk in 2020? Who? Okay, no, let's switch to dairy-free, y'all. So almond milk or any other dairy-free milk of your choice. You'll need water, ice, strawberries, banana, flaxseed, raspberries, and strawberry flavored protein. Again, I use from the brand called Blessed Protein. You're able to use any brand of your choice, but I've found this brand to be the tastiest. So if you have a sensitivity to dairy or you're looking for good vegan friendly protein, try Blessed. I promise you won't regret it. I'm literally obsessed with it. And the exact portions for this specific drink, this strawberry milk protein shake, are 4 ounces of almond milk, 4 ounces of water, 1 scoop of strawberry protein, half a banana, 2 to 3 whole strawberries, a little bit less than 1/4 cup of raspberries, 2 teaspoons of flaxseed, and 3 ice cubes. And yes, the exact number of ice cubes do make a difference, okay? I found that if I add less than 3 cubes, my drink is lukewarm, which is kind of gross because who wants to drink a lukewarm smoothie? Am I right? And if I put more than 3 cubes, I find that my drink is a little more chunky and the cubes don't blend as properly. Could also be that my blender is not the best, but who knows? I'm going to stick with 3 cubes, okay? And I'm not changing that. So that is the second drink I have listed for you, the strawberry milk protein shake. My third recommendation here, my top third one, I guess, is the chocolate coconut protein shake. And the ingredients for this drink are almond milk, water, ice, chocolate coconut flavored protein from Blessed, flaxseed, banana, and almond butter. The exact portions for a chocolate coconut protein shake are 4 ounces of water, 4 ounces of almond milk, 1 scoop of protein, half a banana, 2 teaspoons of flaxseed, and 1 tablespoon of almond butter, and of course the 3 ice cubes. And I would say that this smoothie and the next one I'll be mentioning, these smoothies are more fatty due to the high fat content of like the almond butter and banana. All of it's good fat, by the way. But I do want to say or emphasize that I am in a muscle building phase, meaning I am eating in a caloric surplus to gain healthy weight, which is why I like to personally add almond butter and banana in my smoothies to up the calories in my drink. If that is not your goal, You don't need to add the almond butter, and it will taste just as delicious. I also like to add I like the nutty flavor of almond butter, and I like the taste it adds to my drink. So again, you are more than welcome to add the almond butter or not, but I would suggest to do it because it tastes really good. And for my final top drink here that I'm recommended for you guys is a salted caramel protein shake. And this consists of water, ice, almond milk, salted caramel flavored protein from Blessed Protein, flaxseed, banana, and almond butter. And this is almost identical to the chocolate coconut one, except the protein flavor is different. Obviously, this one's salted caramel. So portions and everything stay the same as before. 4 ounces of water, 4 ounces of almond milk, etc., etc. I think that this mixture gives you the perfect combo of sweet and salty. The sweet comes from the banana and caramel flavor of the protein, but then there's a subtle saltiness of the protein, the actual protein powder, and it just blends together so nicely with everything. There are lots of different brands that sell salted caramel flavored protein, but my absolute favorite has been and will forever be Blessed Protein. And like I said, with all of these recipes, you can pick and choose and alter as you wish. This is what I personally love to drink on a daily basis and what's tastiest for me. And if you don't like any of my suggestions, then I'm questioning your taste buds, okay? Because these are all good. And these are all of the serving or the portions I listed out. This is for one serving. So if you are making a smoothie or a juice for you and another person, then just double the amount. So if it's 4 ounces of almond milk, up it to 8 ounces and etc. Just double all of everything I mentioned. And that's pretty much going to wrap up my top 4 smoothies and juices that I make at home. And that's also going to wrap up today's episode here at the GSMC Health and Wellness Podcast. We covered a lot today. The juicy secret about juicing, juice cleanses, the pros and cons, celery juice specifically, because that's like the whole wave right now. And I hope you guys liked my recommendations for smoothies and juices, because I promise you guys will love these. And I really, really hope you try it. And if you do try it, please let me know in the comments. Tweet at me at GSMC Health. That is the Twitter. I do respond to those tweets, so hit me up on there if you don't want to comment on the podcast show notes. And you guys, as always, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment, all of that good stuff, because that tremendously helps the show. And I want to thank you all so much for tuning in to today's episode here at the GSMC Health and Wellness Podcast, and wishing you all a safe, happy, and healthy week ahead.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Health and Wellness Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.